If you've been creating videos on the internet for a short while and you've tested different variations of styles, of editing techniques, of ideas and the likes, but it's not working for you, and by that I mean it's not generating your leads and customers for your business, that's because the landscape has changed. And in this video, I'm gonna share exactly what you need to be creating to win big on the internet. But before I do that, I wanna show you two videos that I'm gonna come back to at the end of this video, and it's all gonna make sense. So here's video one. Alex Hormozi, one of the best entrepreneurs on the internet, recently broke the Guinness World Record for the most amount of non-fiction books sold in a space of 24 hours. 2.7 million copies, netting him over $82 million in revenue. And in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly how he did it. That was video one. This is video two.
Who was the #1 merchant in Egypt 5,000 years ago? No idea. Who was the #1 merchant 2,000, 1,000 years ago, 200 years ago? No one knows.
At the end of this video, I'm going to ask you a question related to those two videos that essentially is going to back up the claims that I very openly share about short form content throughout the next 5 or 10 minutes. Short form content has been around for a long time now, and I think it really blew up with the integration of the For You algorithm for TikTok. Social media went very quickly from spending time with people that you wanted to connect through the use of the follow button to now being shown content based on what you dwell on, what your click-through rate is, what you like to consume, and generally what your interests and your behavior activity is like. But what I've noticed more recently is that the biggest creators on the internet are now essentially going back to the old days, or what I call the best days, of social media. For example, Alex Hormozi is now putting a lot of time into creating longer form content that is 7 hours long over multiple days, as opposed to just putting all of his time and attention into 60-second reels. Simon Squibb, about a year or so ago, created the most viewed business video on YouTube, and that was 2 to 3 hours long. Gary Vaynerchuk has just started to release 20 to 30-minute vlogs every day, again, to spend time with people and build that level of rapport up with his audience. The question that I'm trying to figure out now is why? Why are they shifting gears? Okay, I'm creating a lot of content around this to try and explore this at the moment. Because short form isn't dying. If anything, it's getting busier and busier and more saturated and more noisy. It's everywhere all of the time. You almost can't escape it. I guess it's kind of been engineered that way, right? We now see more people creating short form content than ever before, because I would argue it has the lowest barrier to entry. It's not as complicated as creating a long piece of content or a podcast or an in-depth YouTube video like this. It's fairly simple to do. New tools and AI are making it faster and easier and cheaper to be able to create something that visually looks amazing more than ever before. I guess you could say that AI has essentially lowered the barrier to entry to be able to create some very good looking, high quality, premium stuff. And I guess most of you watching would say that, well, consistency is really key. You need to show up every day in order to stand out amongst the sea of sameness and the saturation that is in my industry or my niche. And I think you're right there. But everything that I've just gone through there is exactly why short form is broken, in my opinion. If everybody's doing the same stuff in more or less the same way with generally the same ideas, there is no differentiation. There's no factor of uniqueness, or there's no innovation in that space at the moment. My little saying in marketing is, if everybody's doing this, do that. Go down the unbeaten track whilst everyone's going on the beaten path. Risk going a little bit bolder whilst everyone's playing safe and arguably being a little bit vanilla. And for a lot of smaller businesses or people that sell a product or service, and even you watching, that's really important to implement, because otherwise you end up blending into everybody else doing the same thing, and you are seen as another person in this industry as opposed to the person, or the person that I recommend, or the person that you need to work with. It's really important to separate yourself from the masses, okay? For example, because I like examples, who can you think of off the top of your noggin who creates some of the best vlogs in New York City? Casey Neistat. Probably came to mind straight away. He's an amazing creator. He's spent years building rapport, building legacy, building memorability and familiarity, and he comes to mind straight away. I would argue that Casey has spent almost a decade creating the same looking stuff. He hasn't really changed his style too much. It's always in New York. There's always a story there. There's always something to take away. It's always around 5 to 10 minutes long, maybe sometimes longer, maybe sometimes shorter, but generally speaking, it's around that length of time. And his goal has been to create and tell stories that stick in your mind from the very first day that he started creating. Now I'll ask you, can you tell me the best short form creator in New York City? Probably not. You probably can't. Let's be real. There's so many of them. There's so many, they all fall into the category of everybody as opposed to the category of one. The problem with short form, to a degree, again, because there are some very good short form creators, but generally speaking, 95, 99% of people are gonna be into this category, is it's very hard to differentiate yourself when you remove the cadence and the specificity and the uniqueness. And I think that's down to the time crunch. 30, 60 seconds, it's almost not long enough to identify yourself as someone fresh. You just don't have the cadence and the time to be able to dive deep into building relationships and identifying a certain style in your content that is memorable. What I'm just going to say very quickly is I'm not trying to shit on short form content. I think short form content is really important if you can nail it. My sticking point with it is that if everybody's creating it because it's easier than ever and it's faster and it's cheaper to do the longer form content, then I'd argue to do longer form content because that gives you the opportunity to do something different and to be seen as your own person on your own 2 feet as opposed to doing what everybody else is doing. Long form stuff is really hard. It's really hard. And that's why so many people don't do it. Right when short form content is about to end, and that 60-second mark, I'd argue that that's really when it can become great. That's really when the depth and the complexity and the specificity, and even unlocking a new style and a new format and a way of talking and messaging really starts to kick in. Do the hard things. Okay, and in the context of this video, it's about genuinely caring about the content that you create, rather than just creating as much throwaway stuff that you can. I'd argue that I bet you didn't even remember what you created 3 months ago. Do the things that you do remember. Do the things that people remember. Invest time into come out with strong ideas that push the boundaries, that think outside the box, that innovate in a space that's just full of fodder and waffle and dross. But the problem is right now, and I'd argue that this is also a global problem right now, is that marketing isn't treated like a priority. It is the bottom of the barrel thing that needs to be done to hire people in cheap, to get it done, to focus on output over quality. And so everyone falls into the same category. Companies are now laying off their marketing team left, right, and center because of the implementation of AI and ChatGPT and AI agents coming to fruition soon. So they don't need the manpower. It's much easier to just get an AI to do marketing for you than hire 20 people in the marketing team to do it for a big brand. We're in the stage in society now where big brands and small businesses are prioritizing speed, efficiency, and cost savings over actually being creative and solving pretty big problems for people. And because of this, that's likely why you create short form content, because it's easy, it's cheap, it's quick, you can come up with ideas on the fly, it's not too labor intensive, it gets stuff out there, it ticks the box, but nothing in that process is exciting. I would argue that has removed the fun of creating content. You're worrying about people clicking and mastering your hook at the start and trying to get out that 200 view jail. It's removed the whole fun and the whole passionate side of creating marketing and creating content. And that is why the feed nowadays is so full of the same old stuff, because no one cares. No one cares. This is why all of the big creators are now going back full circle and heading into long form. In a noisier world, connection wins. The more time you can spend with people, the larger level of trust and rapport that you can build, the more likely you are going to be remembered in a sea of everyone doing the same stuff. That you're going to be recommended to people because people trust you implicitly. You're going to be able to do a good job and be a professional at the offer and the service that you provide. I would argue that short form content is rising in supply. It's a huge surge stage right now, but I don't think it's in demand. I don't think people are sitting there when they wake up going, you know what, I'm not seeing enough short form stuff. Every time I scroll through TikTok, I just don't see the stuff that I want to see. I don't think people are saying that. I think people are saying, I'm exhausted from short form. I can't even look at Instagram. I can't even go on TikTok anymore. I've deleted it off my phone because it just gets so overwhelmed with it. What happened to just helping people and watching stuff that you genuinely enjoyed and really getting value from the content that you are watching, using it more productively as opposed to a brain rot, high dopamine state of consumption? Challenge me if you think I'm wrong. I don't. I'm not hearing people say that I want to consume more stuff. I'm hearing people say I want to consume less. I want to connect with more people. I want to really make sure that I'm spending time consuming the right stuff. That's what I'm ears to the ground on right now. In my community, in the conversation that I have, in the fly on the wall that I hear, that's what I'm hearing. So if people want to consume more productive stuff, or they want to spend more time with people, supply to that demand. Not supply to the endless supply. It doesn't work. Look, it's been a bit of a rant, I apologize. And the only reason I say all this, and it genuinely comes from the heart, is because I'm passionate about it and I want you to do well. And I just think for most people right now, short form is not the answer. It's the easy option, but I don't think it's necessarily the right option, okay? So let me just recap kind of what I've said so it feels more productive, okay? At the start, I asked you to watch 2 pieces of content. I'm gonna ask you now, which one of those 2 videos do you remember? Chances are you've remembered this one. And there's real science behind this as well because it's slower paced, it's more methodical, it's more in depth, it starts to expand on its ideas, and it's not flooding in to the high dopamine instant visuals. Here's 5 things you need to know about why your business is failing or whatever it is. It just kind of does its own thing, and that's really cool. The problem with this video, for example, is it's just too throwaway. It's too fast. It removes the cadence. It's just a fleeting moment of attention that likely you won't remember in 24 hours time because there's no detail to it. It's why you're likely creating more content than ever, or you're working harder to come up with ideas for it, but it's not moving the needle for your business. And it's also why you're not building an audience of raving fans who refer you and recommend you and talk about you to their nan's dog, who then talks to your uncle's cat, who then talks to your uncle, who then tells his son that you have this service and product that can actually help him to solve his IT issue. And that's because you're valuing time efficiency and cost efficiency and automation to certain degrees over creativity, and deeper than that, psychological relevancy. You're not clicking with the end consumer. So do the opposite. I'm Jack, and I've been making videos for over a decade, and my goal with my YouTube channel is to help you create better videos that actually move the needle for your business for free. And there's two ways that you can do that. One is check out this video that will help you to make better videos for your business. It's a banger, that one. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, click that subscribe button, join the growing creators that we have here on my YouTube channel, and I shall see you in the next video. See you there.